No, it's not hard to find people who, in the General Assembly, who are interested in the Rhode Island Works program and who can be champions for changes that need to happen. Because there are legislative changes that we need to make, as well as changes on the ground. There's one other story, a synopsis of which you can see on the bottom of your infographic, and we have full stories of parents that are in the full report, because other than us talking at you about the Rhode Island Works program and the data, it's really the stories of the parents who have been successful when they've gone through the program that we need to really pay attention to those voices. I'd like to invite up Director Courtney Watkins, who administers the department, who administers the Rhode Island Works programs as well as other basic needs programs. And I think she has been, is, and will continue to be a real champion for ensuring that all of the programs that we have work in the best interest of the families that they're designed to serve.
Thank you, Linda. Okay. I want to start by thanking Linda, Katz, and Rachel Flum for being such tremendous partners to me at the department. They are the people who I call first when I'm not sure what to do, and so I'm grateful to the Economic Progress Institute for all your work. And I want to acknowledge the legislators in this room, Senators DePalma, Murray, Golden, Valverde, and Rep. Morin. It's not always easy to find people who want to be champions for the families that we're talking about today, and so I am deeply grateful to the ones who are willing to stand with me on behalf of the department. I'm just going to make a few brief comments. Linda knows more about this program than I'll ever know on my best day, so if you have questions about the data, she is the one to ask, and she is the one that I ask. But as she highlighted, these are our most vulnerable families. We've had 2 budget hearings on the article that relates to Rhode Island Works this year, and the stories told by the families that have attended echo what was read today, but we are talking about moms, we are talking about people who have been homeless, who have been victims of and survivors of domestic violence, who have been left behind by our educational system. And so, I think it's really important to be clear that no one is benefiting from this program because it's an easy life. Everyone is struggling to do what is best for their kids. And it is why it's important that as a state we do what is best for them. Linda talked about the time limit that is in effect for Rhode Island Works. I am embarrassed to run a department that has to institute the time limit that is in statute for our state. We know nationally that intermittent and arbitrary time limits do not work to change outcomes for vulnerable families. The research is clear. And so I am deeply grateful to the governor that in her budget, in Article 15 this year, she has proposed to get rid of the break-in benefits for families and allow them to access 48 months of benefits should they need it. I think what we know is that the regressive time limit actually hurts families. And so what we hear is about families who make progress, and then the progress is somehow affected because we have this intermittent benefit in place. And so I would posit that in addition to the fact that it's good for families, that it's administratively easier for the department, it actually protects the investments that we've made in families that brings them to that benefit break, and is actually a more efficient use of the dollars that are being invested in the program. And finally, I just want to emphasize that I think it's really important that we talk about the fact that if we don't address poverty, we will not achieve our state's broader outcomes, right? If we don't support these families and other families that are struggling, our educational outcomes will not get better, our economic indicators will not get better, because people can't work and they can't learn and they can't make progress in our state if we're not willing to ensure that all families have opportunity. And to me, that this is the starting point of making sure that that opportunity is available to everyone. But the thing that stood out to me most out of Linda's report is that for every 100 poor families in our state, only 30 are benefiting from this program. So as the director of DHS, what I think about the most is the other 70 and what is happening to those families and those kiddos. And how do we ensure that they have the opportunity to make the economic progress that I know they want to make for their family? And I hope that with the partners that are in the room today, this can be the starting point of that conversation, and that we will see Article 15 pass in the budget this year, that will take this first step forward, but that will then continue the conversation about, as a state, what our values are related to vulnerable people and the opportunity that they should have to be able to move their families forward. So thank you for being here today, and thank you, Linda, for your hard work on this.
Thank you,
I knew I was going to do that.
It works very well as a table.
Super good. You can't take me anywhere.
Thank you very much, Director Hawkins. We're coming to the close unless there are questions, but before I end, I just want to welcome Representative Kislak, who is my representative. Thank you for coming. And I need to ask Catherine Tonsberg to stand up so that we can thank her. Catherine did all of the research for this report, as well as the initial drafts. And so I just want to say we're so grateful for having you work with EPI, and we'll continue to be working together. So thanks, Catherine. And I also just have to mention, this was a long birthing process for this report. And I want to give a shout out to Juan Espinoza from our office, who has spent long hours formatting the report and graciously responding to many changes that happened over time, as well as the support from our director, Rachel Flum. So if there are any questions, happy to answer or try to answer.
Director Hawkins said she was embarrassed to run an agency with the time limit that it has. Which time limit are we talking about?
So we're talking about this periodic time limit of 24 months. And Rhode Island Works was enacted during the recession as a way, I think, it's poor policy that's in the Rhode Island Works program, or the predecessor program really addressed the needs of families in an appropriate way. I think that the changes that were enacted in Rhode Island Works, besides being poor policy, were a way to try to save money. And the 24-month time limit was really just an arbitrary limit that cut parents off, as the director said, without really looking at what their needs were. And ironically, enacted in the teeth of the recession, when unemployment was one of the highest in the country, for parents who had limited skills and really needed some help to develop employment opportunities. So we're looking at particularly at the 24-month time limit now, which hopefully will be repealed, thus streamlining the program and making more opportunities for parents. The 48-month time limit, shortest in one of the shortest in the countries, we also need to look at.
And you want to see it repealed, not tinkered with?
No, it just needs to be repealed. And many of the families, because of the way the program was set up, and we feared that people would have nothing during the recession, parents can apply for hardship benefits. So many of the parents right now, the majority who reach the 24-month time limit, flip from getting regular benefits to hardship benefits, 97% of the families. But they have a break in their coverage and a break in their, they have a break in their coverage and a break in their employment plan, which really makes no sense. So we're really just doing a logical administrative thing and a logical pro-parent employment plan thing. And it's not going to cost much money, $75,000 a year, to get rid of this time limit, which really doesn't make any sense.